y'all, welcome back to Mountain Murders. I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
Hey, Dylan. Are you ready to get back into our spooky mood?
Yes, I am. I never got out of it.
You never got out of the spooky mood?
No, I've been scared this whole time.
You know what? We saw this 12-foot creature of the night vampire animatronic at Lowe's yesterday.
Yeah.
It was like $200-something.
Dude, it was under $250.
Dude, it's like a great investment. I want it year round.
Yeah, I would just leave it up.
Yeah, right? It's
Yeah.
even better than the 12-foot skeleton.
No, it is. It's totally cool. Some of our listeners may have already seen it on display in a Lowe's near them. We need to check back after Halloween and see if it's slashed. The costs.
Yeah. Such bloody slashing prices, I
And,
tell you.
and we'll just put it up for Christmas.
Put him in a little Santa hat.
Yeah, let's put a Santa hat on him.
All right. I like that. Dylan, we are back to discussing horror films based on true stories or, loosely rooted in a true story.
Yes, and in my opinion, this is one of the scariest movies to ever be based on true events.
You think so?
I think so personally.
We're going to be talking about the 2005 Australian horror film, Wolf Creek, written and directed by Greg McLean. Now, Dylan, I find this film to be very visceral, raw, terrifying.
Yes.
Some folks call it a torture porn movie. I don't know if I would go that far because it definitely doesn't give me Hostel vibes.
So in the vein of Hostel, Tourista, things like that.
Right, yeah.
Yes. And I tell you, the first Hostel was, I thought it was good. It was kind of hard to watch. Some of the scenes seem very realistic and horrible. And just the idea of being trapped like this and having people willing to do these things to you is very terrifying. But after a minute, I kind of was over it. You know what I mean? The concept. And then, of course, they came out with multiple parts and things like that. But I would not put this in this. I wouldn't call this torture porn. I think it's quite different. In my opinion, I think it's a very intense thriller, psychological thriller.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it has more elements of that than it does.
I agree because it reminds me more, instead of like a Hostel or Touristas, more in the vein of the French horror film High Tension.
Yeah.
Haute Tension. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, which is a wow.
Heart pounding, like intense, non-stop thrill ride, if you will.
Oh, once it kicks off in the movie High Tension, and if our listeners have never seen this movie, seek it out.
Seek out the French version.
If you're
honestly.
seek out the French version. This movie, once it kicks off, it is a pulse-pounding ride of, I don't even know how to describe it.
Of terror.
Yes.
Sheer terror
It
the
is.
entire time.
So here we are with Wolf Creek, one of my favorite movies. I've seen it many times.
Same.
And I could watch it again right now, and that's how good of a movie it is, which I also think is surprising for this type of film, right? Because a lot of times when you see a film like this, once is enough. Maybe again sometime later with a friend who'd never seen it. But Wolf Creek's a movie I will stop and watch every time I see it on.
Exactly. I find it to be a very rewatchable horror film. Let's get into it, Dylan. Our film begins with three backpackers. We have British best friends, Liz and Christy. They've met a local along the way named Ben. Ben offers to take the women to Wolf Creek National Park. They're on their way to a town called Cairns, but it seems that Wolf Creek is maybe not far away from this destination, so they don't mind, making a day of it.
So it's on the way, but you'd have to go out of your way to get to it.
Maybe that kind of thing. But, you're on a road trip, you're backpacking, you're looking for some adventure, you're willing to go to the little, roadside attractions, right?
Now, have you ever seen a crater in person? Because I have not.
I have. So Wolf Creek National Park is the site of a meteorite crash, and it is in the middle of nowhere, but has now become a bit of a tourist destination for folks. I have been to a meteor crash before.
Now, could you tell it was an impact site and not just a hole in the ground?
Yeah. It's in Arizona, the the site where I've been. It's Meteor Crater Natural Landmark.
Oh.
It's just outside of Flagstaff, Arizona. About 37 miles or so outside of Flagstaff.
Okay.
18 miles west of Winslow, Arizona.
So it's a much more accessible crater than the one that they're going to visit in the
You
movie.
might see a girl in a flatbed Ford
Right.
slowing down to take a look at you here. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, once you're standing at the top of, the edge of the crater, if you will, and you're looking down, I mean, it is very deep. I don't know exactly how deep, but it's huge. I mean, it's very obvious something happened there. And it's like 50,000 years old.
Wow.
This site.
Damn.
Yeah. So if you're ever out and about driving through Arizona for some random reason, northern Arizona, got to check it out.
Go look at their hole.
Yes, I looked at the hole. All right, Dylan. So we've got these 3 backpackers, and I would say the film's first half kind of builds on the relationship between these 3. We learn that Christy is the more bubbly, adventurous friend. Liz is quieter, reserved, introspective. Ben is charming and handsome, and we see Ben and Liz start kind of falling for each other.
Yeah, and this is I would say in the first part of the film when you have people on a road trip, you're getting to meet the cast of characters. It's kind of a very formulaic situation, right? You get to learn about them, find out who's got what type of personality. You'll get just a hint of backstory. I think it's a tried and true trope, right?
Well, yeah, they want to build these characters so that you have empathy for them.
Right.
You want to like them, they make them likable.
Yeah, oftentimes maybe one of them's dealing with something back in their real life, and who I'm not saying necessarily for this movie. We all know that you got a bunch of friends in a car and you get to learn about them, which is sometimes eye rolling to me. I'm just like, just get to it, right? I don't care.
Yeah.
But oftentimes it lays out personality traits and things like that that end up matter later on.
Well, I have to say, Dylan, in the beginning of the film, I was already, I guess, looking at Ben with a bit of paranoia.
Okay.
Like, he was a red herring for me. I thought, oh, here's this nice, handsome, charming young man, and he's like going to lead these girls off to, trade them off to a psycho or something like that.
Yeah, he's getting them to go off their, outside of their itinerary, off their beaten trail.
Yeah, I automatically assumed he had
Right.
ulterior motives,
Yes.
but I was proven wrong. That's just how my brain works. I always think everybody's up to something. Can't help it.
You would not have went with Ben?
Probably not. Now, when the group reaches Wolf Creek, they enjoy their hike around. They head back to their car only to find that it won't start. This is my nightmare.
I would be instantly being in the middle of nowhere in an unknown country to me. I would be so scared. I mean, I would be very...
Well, yeah, you're stranded in the Australian Outback.
Right.
There's no telling when another human will pass by. You could be there for days.
And I have to say, I think the Outback is the perfect setting for a movie like this because it's literally a character of its own.
Yeah, I mean, it's mystifying.
Yeah, and it's...
You don't know what lies ahead. It's so sparsely populated. And you do imagine you would come across some real characters because I think it would take a really interesting kind of folk to want to live in that kind of desolation.
I think here in America... that would compare to the way we kind of view Alaska.
Yeah, like
right,
like this unknown frontier.
Like a last frontier kind of situation. And I don't care who you are, how much you know about the Outback, but you hear Outback and you think middle of nowhere, desolation, harsh conditions, right?
Desert. Arid. Yes. Okay, so they head back to their car, Dylan, only to find that it's not going to start. None of the 3 backpackers is mechanically inclined, and they have no idea how to even identify the problem, much less repair it. Obviously, this is a huge problem because they're miles away from civilization, no cell phone, no one around, no supplies. You'd kind of mentioned that earlier before we got started. And you're right. I mean, they probably have a limited amount of water, limited amount of food. This was only supposed to be like a day trip.
Yeah, they were just driving through, so they weren't planning on staying or camping in the middle of the Outback. So, yeah, I mean, just think about it. If you're just on a regular road trip going somewhere, how much supplies do you actually have in your car or on your person? You know, you might have a couple of bottles of water, some road snacks.
Well, I was going to say there's probably a couple bottles of random water just floating around the car from like leaving it behind after the gym.
Yeah.
So we'd probably survive for some days.
2 or 3 days off of gym water.
Yeah.
Partial bottles of water.
There's like clothes in there, items from the pool that closed 2 months ago.
I'm like, thank goodness we have this sun umbrella in the car.
Well, you never know, Dylan. You
Well,
might need
actually, it would be handy out there.
Exactly.
It would give us shelter.
See? Exactly. Luckily, after dark, a friendly, rugged man named Mick, played by the very talented John Jarrett, he is amazing in this role. Amazingly terrifying.
His ability to go from, I'm just kidding around, just being kind of...
He's got this laugh in the film that is like, it's very unsettling.
His ability to go from I'm being, or just being like incompetent and goofy and like weird to terrifying, like a switch, and just change instantly into that other mode is it comes across in the movie so very well.
Mick offers to help. He can tow their vehicle back to his campsite, which ends up being near an abandoned mining site a few hours south of the park. Now, this is a generous offer, but while they're getting to know Mick, they're also like a little uncomfortable with him because though he's very friendly and, nice and is offering to help, he also keeps kind of making these off-color jokes or like little cracks that you can tell especially make the women feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But, in these horror movies, we often see people going against their gut instinct.
Well, they're in a situation where this guy, even though he's not someone they probably would hang around very long if they just met him out and about, they have no other choice, right? They're lucky that he found them, and they may not see anyone else. So they almost have to go with him. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So they end up at this campsite, if you want to call it that. It's a couple of old abandoned buildings and junk cars. It's an odd place, right? But they end up there. Mick's repairing the car. He's spinning these tall tales of his past. And you can see he's definitely kind of like a braggadocious type. He's got all these stories. And while they're kind of humoring him, like, oh, yeah, those are great stories, you can tell they're all a little, like, ready to be away from him.
Right.
And annoyed by him, right? Mick offers the group water, and after they drink it, the three black out.
Oh, my gosh.
He roofied the water.
Damn it.
What follows is a hellish nightmare. Liz awakens in an old shed, gagged and tied up. She struggles to break free, but eventually does. Soon after, she hears Mick torturing her best friend Christy in a garage. Uncertain about her next move, Liz sets the car on fire to distract Mick. So she's willing to set their vehicle on fire to distract him.
Damn.
She's making moves. She enters the garage. It is implied that Mick has sexually assaulted Christy. When Mick returns, Liz shoots him in the neck with his rifle.
Yeah, you got him.
But this is where she done fucks up, Dylan, because she doesn't do the double tap.
Dude, I'm telling you. Of course, this always happens in these types of movies. And I have this rifle. I've already nicked you, right? I've wounded you. I'm going to shoot you with every shell
Yeah, this
left.
rifle has become an Ass Blaster 5000 because I'm about to blast some caps in that ass until I know you good and fucking dead, right?
The Ass Blaster 5000.
Yeah. You can't just shoot them once.
No, and then I'm going to might beat you with the stock after I'm done shooting
So
you.
listeners, if you're ever in a situation like this, you've been captured by a maniac madman, or you're being stalked by Michael Myers, you gotta do like the fucking quadruple tap.
Yeah, 2 in the head and 1 in the chest.
Yeah, maybe 1 in the dick.
Oh.
Yeah, just for good measure. So we've got Mick. He's shot, got a little wound to the neck, which could be a deadly position on the body, but doesn't quite work out that way. The women attempt to escape, heading towards Mick's truck car. It's some kind of Australian, I think it's called an Ute or Ute.
Okay.
It's like a little El Camino or Subaru Brat. It's a little car with a truck bed.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a truck car. Yeah. So Mick shoots at the women. They push the vehicle off a cliff, then return to the site to find another vehicle, like hoping maybe, this is just like it causing distractions. Liz tells her friend Christy to run if she's not back in 5 minutes, kind of leaving her hidden outside of this camp. Liz returns to the garage where she makes another horrifying discovery. In Mick's possessions, kind of among these items, she finds belongings of other tourists and travelers, including like video cameras, for example.
Yes, and now what a terrifying discovery that would be.
There are a number of cars on the property, likely belonging to these tourists. She watches a segment of videos from a camera only to learn that Mick has similarly aided other visitors at Wolf Creek when their cars have become disabled.
Yes, it's amazing. He's always around when the cars break down.
Yeah, it's almost like he tears them up.
It's almost like he's making the cars break down.
Now, Liz gets into the car, but Mick is in the back seat, and he stabs her with a Bowie knife. Liz crawls out of the car. Mick manages to slice off 3 of her fingers, then severs her spinal cord, which paralyzes Liz. All the while, he's demanding to know where her friend Christy is. By now, Christy has reached the highway, and it's dawn after surviving this torturous night, hours of abuse and fear.
So here she is in position to possibly be the final girl. You've made it to the dawn. You're on the road, right? You may survive this yet.
As she flags down a passing motorist who does try to help her, Mick shoots the driver dead.
Damn it.
Christy attempts to drive away in the dead man's vehicle, but she is followed by Mick. She is kind of able to sideswipe his car, which pushes it off into a ditch. And that's when Mick shoots out the back tire of this car Christy is driving. We see that vehicle crash. She's trying to crawl away from the crash, but Mick shoots her. He then puts Christy and the dead motorist into the back of a crashed car and lights it on fire.
Right.
I mean, he's hardcore.
They'll never figure this out. They'll just be like, these people must have been in the trunk when the car wrecked.
It's amazing. We have no idea what has happened to Ben up until this point. When we finally see Ben, he awakens in a mine shaft, and he's been nailed to like this crucifix.
Terrifying.
He's able to escape the camp. We see Ben hiking through the outback, but he has no water. Ben passes out from dehydration, and later a Swedish couple finds Ben and they take him to Kalberg. He's airlifted to a hospital. We learn that despite searches, there is no trace of Liz or Christy. After 4 months in police custody, Ben is cleared of suspicion in their disappearances and finally released. And the film concludes with Mick walking into the sunset, carrying his rifle.
Damn it.
So no happy ending in Wolf Creek.
No, he gets away. He's done it before, and he'll do it again.
He's going to do it again.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, the true story behind Wolf Creek is known as the Backpack Murders.
Now, I stumbled upon this case on a podcast fairly early on in my podcasting listening career. And I have to say...
Your listening career?
My podcast listening career. And I have to say that I was very quickly rather disturbed by the details of this true story.
Right. I mean, we really could offer up a huge episode on this guy, but since we're trying to keep it short, I won't go into too much detail. From 1989 to 1993, the bodies of 7 young people were found in the Belanglo State Forest. Belanglo State Forest is about an hour's drive from Sydney, Australia.
Okay.
And has been described as a pine plantation.
Oh, they grow pine out there.
Dense, thick pine forest is what comes to mind. But it's a popular spot outside of Sydney for hikers.
Well, I'm sure, because it's not that far outside of a major city there in Australia.
Now, in the mid-1990s, hitchhiking was still a popular mode of travel in Australia. It was considered a cheap way to travel, to get around. There were a few missing persons cases which did lend to hitchhikers traveling with buddies. But unlike the United States, where we saw a rash of serial killers in the 70s,
So it was still
picking off hitchhikers.
it was still considered safe
Yeah, for the most part.
in Australia.
Yeah,
Okay.
and especially if you were with the buddy,
Okay.
right?
So it's like your battle buddy.
Yeah, you didn't have too many of those cases, the missing persons cases, so people still kind of felt safe doing this. During the late 80s and early 90s, several backpackers had disappeared. One case involved a couple from Victoria who had vanished between Sydney and Albury. Another young woman from Germany went missing 2 years later. And then a German couple disappeared after leaving a hostel in King's Cross. 2 British backpackers disappeared from King's Cross as well. Fast forward to September 19th of 1992, 2 runners made a shocking discovery in Belanglo State Forest. A body was found. Quit running, bud. You're always going to find a body.
And they're jogging out in the middle of nowhere and they find a body.
The next day, police located another body only 100 feet away. The bodies were determined to be those of British backpackers Caroline Clark and Joanne Walters, who disappeared in April of 1992. Walters had been stabbed repeatedly, while Clark was shot about 10 times in the head. Police theorized she had been used for target practice.
Damn.
Brutal.
How do you even shoot somebody 10 times in the head? I could only imagine.
Vicious. A year later, in October of 1993, a man searching for firewood stumbled upon bones in a remote section of the forest. The bones were determined to belong to the missing Victoria couple, Deborah Everest and James Gibson. Gibson's skeletal remains revealed multiple stab wounds. Everest had been savagely bludgeoned. She'd been stabbed once in the back, and it had actually severed her spinal cord.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This seems to be a popular thing this killer does, because the stabbing victims often have this stab wound in their back that would have severed their spinal cord.
So it's almost done on purpose.
Yeah, to paralyze them.
To incapacitate them, but not kill them directly at the moment.
Right.
Which is horrible.
That's so scary.
Yes.
Now, investigators were baffled by this. Gibson's camera had been found on December 31st of 1989. So you find a backpack 4 years earlier, and then you find a body in a completely different place.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's pretty strange, right? I'm sorry, you find his camera, and then his backpack is found a few months later in March of 1990 on a road near Galston Gorge in the Sydney suburbs. So he found 2 of his items nowhere near where this body is located.
Well, yeah, one discovery sounds to be quite a long ways back towards town, if you will.
The police conducted a search on November 1st of 1993 of the Belanglo Forest. During this time, a skeleton was found along a fire trail. The body was identified as Simone Schmidl, a German traveler who had been missing since she had left Sydney, Australia on January 20th of 1991. She had 8 stab wounds, which included the trademark severed spine.
Jesus.
Clothing at the scene matched another missing backpacker, Anya Habschied. Habschied and Gabor Naugeberger, yeah.
Sorry about that to the Naugeberger family.
The Naugebauer Burger, yeah. I think it's Bauer.
Probably.
There's too many G's. Sorry. Had vanished in December of 1991. Their bodies were located 3 days later in shallow graves about 160 feet apart. Habschied had been decapitated and her skull was never found. Naugebauer had been shot in the head 6 times.
Damn. So again, these
overkill.
Are very similar.
With the discovery of these 7 bodies, a task force was created. A reward for $500,000 was posted in relation to the serial killings. International backpackers were warned not to hitchhike along Hume Highway. Eventually, police were able to narrow down a suspect list. Initially, they had 230 suspects. Were finally able to whittle that down to just 32.
Wow.
Although law enforcement was searching for a serial killer, others speculated it was the work of multiple people, given that the victims were taken in pairs.
Yeah, I always found that to be the odd element of this, because you have one part. It would be hard for one person to take full control of 2 people.
Well, if you have a gun,
well, here's the thing, though.
And you sever somebody's spinal cord, then it's pretty easy to handle the 2 of them.
Well, if you open up with pure brutality, most people are going to freeze. You know what I mean? They're going to be so shocked by what's happening that you're not going to be thinking about escape routes and what can I do? You're just going to be frozen in fear. And I think that's a natural reaction that many of us would have.
A previous victim came forward. His name was Paul Onions, and he was from the United Kingdom. He had been backpacking in Australia near Casula when a man offered him a ride. He only knew the man to be called Bill. Near the Belanglo State Forest, Bill pulled a gun on Onions and told him, this is a robbery. This would-be robber also had ropes to restrain Onions, but Onions managed to flee before being tied up, and Bill shot at him while he was trying to escape. A motorist named Joanne Berry picked him up, and they went to file a police report, immediately.
Okay.
A tip led police to a man named Ivan Milat who lived in Eagle Vale. Milat had recently sold a four-wheel drive Nissan Patrol after the discovery of Clark and Walter's bodies. Milat had not been working on the day of the attacks when they checked his background. Milat was also obsessed with guns and weapons, according to those who knew him. Milat exhibited antisocial and psychopathic behavior from a very young age. He was known to attack animals with a machete as a kid.
That's just being kids, right?
No.
I mean, don't you remember running around with your friends attacking animals with blades?
I do not.
Yeah.
During his youth, Milat spent time at a residential school and also in juvenile detention. In April of 1971, Milat abducted two 18-year-old female hitchhikers. He sexually assaulted one of the women before they were able to escape. At that time, he was charged with rape and armed robbery. He was also involved in a string of robberies while awaiting trial for the rape and robbery.
Because this person has absolutely no impulse control.
At one point, before the trial started, Milat tried to fake suicide. There's a popular spot where a lot of people will jump to their deaths in Australia, and he went there and left behind a pair of his shoes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Trying to fake a suicide.
They'll be like, well, he's gone now. We'll just stop all the court proceedings.
He fled to Queensland and Victoria, then to New Zealand, where he lived on the run for 2 years. Eventually, he was rearrested. In 1977, he attempted to rape another set of women who were hitchhiking. I mean, this guy is an absolute menace.
He can't stop, or he won't stop.
Well, look at all he's done. How's he keep getting out of jail?
Well, how is this guy getting pretrial release for these types of charges?
When you've already escaped custody or fled, you're an absconder from justice.
And you're kidnapping and raping women left and right.
How does that work? Onions was able to positively ID Milat, who also had a brother named Bill, and he was known to use his brother's identity at times. He was arrested on May 22nd of 1994. At his home, law enforcement located a number of guns. They also found stashes of foreign currency, camping equipment, cameras, clothing, and other items belonging to the victims.
Damn.
Milat was tried and found guilty of the murders. He was given a life sentence, or life sentences, I should say, on each count, and he died in 2019.
Good.
In August of 2025, it was announced that a new investigation into Milat was underway. Authorities believe he may be involved in other murders, the earliest being the Wanda Beach murders, which happened back in 1965.
Wow.
And I suppose it's kind of a famous unsolved case in Australia. Now, another strange twist in this case is that Matthew Milat, Ivan's great-nephew, brutally murdered his friend David Auchertalone with an axe in the Belanglo State Forest. Matthew was very proud of his uncle's crimes and wanted to be like him.
I mean, who thinks
but
like...
unfortunately, he was caught before he could serial kill.
Who thinks like that? I have a relative who did these horrible things. I'm going to, revere their acts and emulate them.
I guess like a sadistic psycho is who.
I mean, does that prove some nature versus nurture theory?
I don't know, Dylan. It beats the hell out of me.
Wow. I mean, is there something chemically wrong with these people in this bloodlines? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he just thought it was cool. I have no idea.
Well, fortunately, he wasn't good at it.
To mention the Wanda Beach murders, I thought I would give everybody a little background on this because I was kind of interested. It's as I mentioned, it's I guess a pretty famous unsolved case in Australia. It's the murder of two 15-year-old girls, Marianne Schmidt and Christine Sherrock, in Sydney, Australia on January 11th of 1965. They were best friends and went missing after walking into the sandhills at Wanda Beach, and their partially buried bodies were discovered the next day.
Jeez. So, I just don't get it. You know, you have these people who are vacationing or, you know, trying to have fun. And, gosh, that reminds me of that. Remember that case we covered? That guy was, got those young girls, and it's like the house right beside his home where his wife and kids live.
Oh, yeah. The South Carolina, I can't think of that guy's name, but it was a South Carolina story.
Yeah. Yeah. And, just, I mean, that's
on
so
the South Carolina coast.
So sadistic, you know?
It was near like Folly Beach or something.
I think it was Folly Beach, but it's just so sadistic to view other humans like that.
Well, this case was, as I mentioned, pretty famous because of the brutal nature of the slayings and the fact that they occurred on a deserted, windswept beach. Just out in the open like that.
Well, yeah, that's very scary.
Pretty scary stuff. It'll be interesting to see if they are able to determine that Milat was a suspect or was involved in this.
Right.
Right? They do have another suspect who's a serial killer in Australia named Christopher Wilder. He had been convicted of a gang rape on a Sydney beach, which led police to include him as a suspect. He had immigrated to the United States in 1969 while visiting his parents in Australia. He was charged with a sexual offense against two 15-year-old girls in 1982. He fled back to the United States, and of the first half of 1984, he committed 8 murders and attempted more.
Oh, my gosh.
And accidentally killed himself during a struggle with police in New Hampshire on April 13th of 1984. We're definitely going to have to discuss Christopher Wilder.
Yeah, I've never heard of that guy.
Yeah, so it seems like they do have their share of suspects with the Wanda Beach unsolved case.
So, what's so scary about this real life versus movie conversation is how many elements that they actually put in the movie that were real. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like the debilitating stab wounds.
Finding the cameras and other personal items belonging to missing persons.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you can't even, I mean, it doesn't even sound real, right? It sounds like it's made up to be a part of a scary movie, you know? And that's just terrifying that actually happened, you know? And they found this cache of other people's belongings, trophies, in essence, and of victims.
Well, I've always thought the concept of a predator preying on those who are just trying to enjoy nature, whether they're hiking, backpacking, camping, has always been very scary to me.
Well, yeah, that's like the Gary Hilton story. He is just a bumbling piece of shit. I really hated him. But then that's what he would do, you know? He would prey on people.
Get them in an isolated area.
Get them in an isolated
find
area.
them on a trail.
And it's almost when you get out, it's almost like you say you live in a city and you go to a national park or something. You almost feel like you left all the problems and violence behind, right?
Right. You're communing with nature.
You feel safe.
Beautiful.
You know, I mean,
the only thing that you might think could happen that might be like
an animal.
Yes, or an accident. Like,
right.
What if I twist my ankle?
Yeah, something like that. But nothing from. It's almost like you have this false sense of security, being out in nature like that, and unfortunately, that's sometimes just not the case.
Well, right, because you're like, oh, well, there's going to be other people around, park rangers, it's federal land, or it's a state park. I should be fine here.
I actually remember when the Gary Hilton case broke because one of the couples that he unfortunately got, killed was very local to us. It was in Henderson County in Hendersonville, which wasn't all that far from where we lived.
Right.
And often at that time, I would go out with my kids on these fairly desolate trails. We'd be way out, 2 or 3 miles, 4 miles from the car. Down a pretty rough trail, nothing crazy. And it really scared me because I felt like that, if I'd ran afoul upon someone who wanted to do us harm, I wouldn't have been able to do anything about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I started carrying a gun, which they actually addressed that. They did change the laws to a degree about carrying a weapon on federal lands after that case. And I think you should think about that. You should think about security to some degree when you're out and about like that. Have a plan, have even a mild discussion with, say, your partner or your children, if you have older children especially, as to what to do if something goes bad. And some people may think that's being paranoid, but I think just a little bit of preparation could go a long way if the situation ever went south.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we don't have a rash of crimes, fortunately, in the United States in our national parks,
right,
or state parks, which is good. I mean, I think for the most part, people are safe when they go out and about, but there's always that chance.
Well,
I mean, the Gary Hilton case, and as you mentioned, being so close, to our hometown, really left a mark on me.
Yeah.
Because for years, I've been a solo hiker. Like, I don't mind to go off on a trail by myself in the woods for hours, do a 4 or 5 mile hike by myself.
Yeah, you've even contemplated doing some of the Appalachian Trail by yourself, right?
Well, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
But you said you couldn't live without me.
Well, I can't.
You don't want to let me go.
No, I'm pretty sure I won't make it without you.
I know. There's so many things you won't be able to do on your own. It's really pitiful.
Oh, baby, I need you.
We'll have to get you a babysitter.
No. Well, maybe one of our listeners will look after me while you're
I
gone.
got to get a babysitter for Dylan
Have
so
him
I
come
can
by
go
and
hike the trail.
check my litter box and feed me.
Yes. Yes. Dylan, I have to say, we were discussing horror movies. I happened to watch a horror film last night. It was the new VHS Halloween VHS.
Yeah, it's a brand new installment of the VHS series. If you're not familiar with them, most of them are fairly creepy movies, in my
Found
opinion.
footage.
Yeah.
Right. This one was so brutal and kind of gory. I had to turn it off. I couldn't finish watching it,
Look,
which is rare for me.
they're typically, I think they're always an anthology of sorts. You have multiple stories. And in my usual fashion, I watched the beginning of the movie with you, and then
quickly we're snoring in my ear. Yes.
Yeah, but even the first, what do you call them, vignettes?
Yeah, sure.
Even the first installment or first story on it on this movie was fucking some like Guillermo del Toro nightmarish. I don't even know what was going on.
You mean like the babies?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know what was happening, but it was weird. It was unsettling. So it doesn't surprise me that it only got worse from there. It sounds like.
Yeah. Well, there was a storyline that involved children.
Okay.
Yeah. And once you involved kids into I was kind of like surprised that they took it as far as they did.
Really?
Yeah, because it was almost like displaying this frazzle drip, QAnon kind of shit. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I might have to watch this out of curiosity.
It was like, we're going to take this idea of this conspiracy theory and we're going to
make a horror.
Yeah, and it was
story
fucked up and I had to turn it off.
Oh, wow.
I just can't with kids.
Damn, VHS going hard in the paint.
Yeah, I was surprised, honestly, because this film, I've seen the others, and I'm just kind of like, meh.
Well,
I have not really been super impressed with that franchise over the years.
I thought the first one had some merit, or it was good, but then I think they made those fairly quickly. The few after the first one, I was like, okay.
Well, like the 84 was like 80. They tried to do like a retro.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I'm like over it, but I don't know what this VHS Halloween. I don't.
Yeah, if you want to watch a messed up film, that's the one right there.
All right, so thank you for this discussion on Wolf Creek. I've been looking forward to this, and it's a. If you haven't seen the movie, we hope you have. If you've sat through this conversation, but it's a messed up movie based on a messed up true story, for sure.
Yeah, For sure, Dylan.
All right.
Thank you for sitting down with me today to discuss Wolf Creek.
Thank you. Yeah, and until next time, I can't wait to see what you bring forth next for us. We are digging our way. We're halfway through the spooky season, right? Almost 2/3 of the way. Where does it go, you know?
Well, if you want to know our next film that is up for discussion, we will be watching the Charlize Theron Monster
Okay.
movie. So check that out.
Okay. Can't wait.
Bye, Dylan.
Bye.